Douglas back on drums and kind of.
All right. They are Catch the Spirit, and thank you, gentlemen, for learning that song in a nanosecond. They had a little bit longer than that. I think they had 4 days. That song's by the Bodines, in case you had not heard it before. So we are coming close to a close with the 12 Gateways to Personal Growth by Dan Millman. We are on Gateway 11. I skipped Gateway 10. If you want to read up on that, please feel free. It's the Gateway to Sexuality, and I didn't think that was appropriate for Sunday morning. So we're going to skip that one and move on to Gateway 11, which is Awaken Your Heart, the Healing Power of Love. Because, Jim, it would be difficult to discuss that on a Sunday. Jim's like, I don't know, why couldn't she do that? So, I can see you out there. All right, George Bernard Shaw, winning Irish playwright, said, "The only man who behaved sensibly was my tailor. He took my measurements anew every time he saw me, while all the rest went on with their old measurements and expected them to fit me." And so we're going to talk about awakening the heart, and one of there's 4 steps that I found, or 4 steps I'm going to talk about. And the first one is letting go of the past. And how many of us, and that's why I love this quote, how many of us hang on to somebody, we haven't seen them for years, and we still have, I'm going to say don't like them, or we still hold them hostage about something that happened last year, 2 years, 3 years ago. We have no idea, if we haven't been in touch with them, what journey they've been on. How maybe they have shifted their perception of life. And how you've shifted yours. None of us is stagnant. None of us remains the same. And yet, many of us don't bother to reach out and take somebody's measurements anew. How that worked in my family was that I was the baby of the family, or I still am, I guess. Yes, I still am the baby of the family because my older sister is still present. And I was, I guess I would be the black sheep, the wild child, whatever you want to call it. I did not follow the path that my sister and brother followed to success and easy living and such. I was the drug addict alcoholic. Now here's the deal about when you're that person in your family. You have a role to play in that family. Nobody really knows that you have a role to play in that family, but there is an expectation that you will behave a certain way because then they get to behave a certain way based on your behavior. Does that make sense? Everybody keeping up with, because that was a long sentence of they can, you can, we can. So when you shift out of that and you're no longer that person, that means everybody in your family dynamic or your friends have to shift also, because now the rules of relationship have changed. And what we forget is when we shift, that's not always easy for people to accept and shift with you. They're like, well, no, wait a minute. You were the one we always got to talk about when you weren't at the family dinners. You were the ones that, you know, we made fun of when you were at the family dinners because you fell down in your soup. You're not there anymore. Where's our entertainment? Who are we going to talk about? You know, each other? I'm going to have to look at my stuff now? God forbid. Right? And so you had a role, whatever that role was, that's an extreme. You had a role in relationships. And when you change, when you start to follow a different spiritual path than what your families used to, when you lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is, when you shift, you have to understand that people around you are going to go, well, what just happened? How come you changed? So you have to also understand that people that you may be holding hostage in your past, they might not be the same people. Now, I have an ex, I'm not giving him a nanosecond to think that he's changed a bit, but that's me and that's my choice. He might have, right? I have no idea. I haven't seen him like for forever, a lifetime ago, and I have no desire to. And I have to be present to the fact that possibly he's changed. I did, right? So why couldn't he? So if you've changed, why couldn't somebody in your past change that you're holding hostage? The other reason we don't want to hold on to our past is the more we hold on to our past, the more we tell the story of our aches and our pains and our hurts, the more they're going to appear in our life today, different players, same feeling. Has anybody ever had that happen? Yeah. You kind of go, wow, this feels really familiar. Why is that? Well, because you called that into your life for either a different level of healing, or you've called it into your life because you keep saying the same story, and what we know to be true is that the universe is always responding yes. And so if we're going to tell the same story, the universe is going to assume, wow, she must like that, or he must like that. We'll give them more, please, right? So the first thing is, let go of the stories of your past, not the lessons that you learned. Those are important. And if you have somebody in your life that did extreme damage and you want to go, that person doesn't get to come into my life anymore, that's okay. Those are boundaries. But letting go of the past means quit telling the story as if you're reliving it over and over and over again. We're at choice. And so to just stop and go, I'm not that person anymore. That story, there was a lesson there. Here's the lesson. Here's what I learned from that lesson. What I learned from my lessons in life is, wow, all I had to do was change my thinking and change my life. That's simple. Does anybody really think that that's simple? Because here's what I know to be true. If it was simple, everybody would be changing their life all the time. It's not simple. Even if you're in a horrific relationship, sometimes comfortable, the familiar is hard to let go of because you have no idea what life will be like if that familiar isn't there. Can you imagine giving up an abusive relationship and stepping into a more abusive relationship? It happens all the time. And so people think, I'll stay with the familiar. And so just to know we're all on this path. We've all got an opportunity to shift and change. And it takes practice. You can call it work if you want to. I choose the word practice. You have to be diligent. You have to watch your thoughts. You have to default to kindness, which is huge. And we need more of it in the world. How many of you saw Brene Brown's documentary on Netflix? Highly suggest you watch it again. I think yesterday I watched it for the third time. She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And a great storyteller. But, you know, just to know that stories have a place because you can share with people, this is how I got from here to here. Not the, oh, woe is me, look what happened to me, life is so bad. Because all then I'm saying to the universe is, bring it on, bring me more. I like that consciousness. And so to let go of the story, except remember the lesson and share the lesson. How did you get from here to here? Because everybody wants to know that, right? Everybody wants to know that. And so one of the next steps to awakening your heart, so you can find that path to love and your path for your purpose, is to calm down. I know, right? I could learn that over and over again. However, really to calm down, to realize everybody on this planet, everybody is really doing the best they can. And sometimes somebody might say something or do something that upsets you. You might want to give them a little grace and to realize that they might not even be aware. In fact, most of the time I think that we're not aware. Because here's the deal. Somebody could say something to me that's like a stab in my heart. And unless they're me, how would they know that? You know, they might think, oh, I'm being funny. I'm being a smart patootie. You know, I'm teasing. Yeah, well, you know, maybe it doesn't sound like teasing. Maybe it's not funny. And so to really understand that sometimes when we say things, we have no idea how the world beyond us is hearing that. And so maybe instead of just responding, to take a breath and really respond from that place of kindness from your heart. Wonder what the world would be like if we all gave up sarcasm. I don't know. I don't know if I could exist. Who would I talk to? But, you know, because it's how we're raised, right? We've all got smart, quick responses that we think are funny and delightful, but there's people out there that might not think so. It might really hurt them to the very core of who they are. So what if we all started responding with kindness and just saying kind things to each other? How would that shift the energy, even in just this room? If we all started to just say kind things to each other, instead of thinking that we were cute or funny or just clueless. So I have a friend, not my friend in Canada, I have a friend in Australia too. I'm getting very international friends now. It's really fun. Thank you, COVID, for putting everybody online so this could happen, because without it, I mean, we have some things to be grateful for. Through that, we never would have gotten everything online where we could meet all these people and make these relationships, so it's kind of fun. She does past lives, and she gave me a meditation, kind of a meditation. It's a visualization that I'd like us to do because it helps you calm down. Because here's what happens. And I'm gonna try and remember this exactly as Brene Brown said it. we go into something where our body immediately, our mind wants to finish a story. And so if somebody says something hurtful to us and then it stops, we make up a story, right? And it's not something that we can say we don't do. She said our brain is wired to do it. It's what our brain does. Our brain wants a story. So if you left me hanging, then I'm just going to make up my own story. And we know how stories go, right? They go kind of this way. Because for whatever reason, does our brain ever say, oh, that girl, she's so funny. She didn't mean a word of that. Our brain doesn't do that. You know, Jack Canfield talks about in one of his classes, and I'm going to use Michelle 2 reasons. She's sitting right in front of me, and I know that she's got a strong personality, so she's not going to take any offense when I do this. So if I say to Michelle, oh my God, it's Michelle. She's such a downer. Why did she have to sit right there where I'm going to look at her? She never smiles. You know, I'm thinking in my head, I'm saying something wrong. Now, Michelle has 2 responses. Number 1, she's going to internalize that and go, oh my God, Gail hates me. How did she know that, you know, I just come here because I have to, because I'm on the board. I don't really want to be here on Sunday. How does she know that? Or she could go, of course she picked me. I am so confident there's nothing that she could say that's going to hurt me. I only said one thing. Michelle's got 2 choices on how she embodies that. And we all do. Every single one of us. We have 2 ways to respond. We can go, wow, that's interesting that she would say that, and not respond. A kinder way is I could say to Michelle, oh, Michelle, you have green hair. And she's like, no, I don't. It's purple. Right? Or it was. I don't think it is anymore, is it? It's tied up, I can't tell. But, you know, there are some things immediately we know, no, that's not true. And there are other things that we go, oh, it's possible. It's possible. But we get to choose how we process, because our brain's going to make up a story. And I already gave Michelle a way to answer that. I told her I'm going to use her as an example because A, she's sitting in front of me, and B, I know she knows I'm not going to mean a word that I say. But we need to calm down in order to allow our body to process. We tend to go to fight, flight, or freeze. It's our 3 responses. And what if we went to love, kindness, and inclusion? We'd have to train our bodies, right? Because the fight, flight, or freeze comes from caveman days, when we had saber-toothed tigers chasing us, if you can imagine. So our little brain, the amygdala, I think it's called, it's like, what do they call that? I wish Dr. Carol was here. She'd tell me in a heartbeat. It's not the snake brain. Lizard brain, thank you. The lizard brain. Come on, really? So retrain it, because you can. So I'd like you to all try this visualization. And I will post it on Facebook Family so you could use it if you choose. And so if you are able, I know some people may choose not to, but I'd like you to stand comfortably, which means, you know, stand up, put your feet X number of inches apart, whatever comfortable for you. If you're close to somebody, you might want to spread apart a little bit. You don't have to. If you're at home, go ahead, stand up. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. And what I mean by breathing deeply is really take a deep, deep breath in through your nose, almost like you could breathe it to the top of your head. You just feel it. And then breathe out slowly through your mouth. Again, breathe deeply in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. And as you breathe, I want you to reach a new place of calmness and clarity. So one more breath, just breathing in. You can actually think I'm breathing in calmness and clarity, and just breathe out anything that keeps you separate from that. Because right here, right now, you can be calm and present and have a clear vision. So I want you to visualize standing in a clearing in the forest. Underfoot is soft, springy grass. You can hear birds chattering in the trees. Feel the warmth of the sun on your body. And notice a gentle breeze caress your face. And now I want you to visualize roots going out of the soles of your feet into the earth. Imagine being a tree and picture how the roots hold the tree strong. Visualize your roots doing the same thing, connecting you strongly, deeply, and energetically with the earth. Stand tall. Visualize yourself as a tree. See your branches reaching to the heavens, reaching for the sun. Visualize your trunk connecting your branches and your roots. Your spine is firm and supported. Your body is in alignment and feels alive and well. You have a sense of connection with all that is. The universe, the heavens, and Mother Earth. Your heart is filled with joy. Take a few moments and indulge this feeling. Then imagine going about your day experiencing success and having all the energy you need. Know that you are firmly grounded and wrapped in nature's embrace. As you breathe deeply once more, express gratitude for how you are feeling. Then gently move your body. Open your eyes and be seated. Now, when you're out and about, you could do that more quickly. It would just be closing your eyes, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling connected. It's important to calm ourselves from the inside out. People outside of us can't calm us down necessarily. In fact, I don't know about any of you, but if I'm wound up and somebody tries to calm me down, oh, stand back. Because all of that energy, whoosh, has just gone over there. I mean, sometimes it's better just to, okay, it's a good day to stay away from Gail. And so just to know that you have these tools. And so the third step to awakening your heart on your path of love to open up to your life's purpose is to enlighten yourself. Like watch the Brené Brown documentary. I have done this before, I'm doing it again. I spend way too much time playing solitaire on my cell phone. I say it's good for my brain. You know what else is good for my brain? Reading Ernest Holmes. Or Buddha. Or whatever. And it's all about choice. And it's not like, oh my God, she's just going to read spiritual stuff now. Maybe. But why wouldn't I want to light myself with that instead of the news, which, remember, the news is not our happy place. The reason it is news is because it's something that doesn't happen all the time. And we get glued to it, or some of us do. And so what would be wrong with shifting and starting to, instead of watching the news, I think I'll just read something spiritual. I think that maybe today I'll just try that grounding exercise that Gail just taught me. We all have choices. And I don't want us, or maybe I'm just talking to myself, you know, is the fun going to go out of my life all of a sudden if I'm not wound up? If I'm not yelling at traffic? I mean, oh good God, what stories will I share on Sunday? I don't know, I had a calming day yesterday. Might be different. And yet how important it is, because every single one of you is a little energy bubble. And so you put out energy, known or unknown to you, and you attract back to you that energy. And so if you want to attract to you loving kindness, guess what you have to be? You have to be loving and kind. If you're going to have a smart mouth, guess what you're going to attract to you? People that think that's what you want. And so paying attention to who you are, what you're saying, how you're being in the world. I believe the world could use a little drop of kindness. Probably a great big ocean wave of kindness. And since I can look outside of myself all day and wait for it to come, or I could just decide that's what I'm going to choose to be. I'm going to choose now to be a place of loving kindness. And it is a practice. It is a practice. Learning how to be in that wave and not respond. It takes courage. And that was the other thing I loved about Brene Brown. If you have not read the Teddy, and she says Roosevelt. I always thought it was Roosevelt, but who cares? In 1910, and he wrote a poem about daring greatly. And she said in a nanosecond, it shifted her life. Because if you don't know the story, she did a TED Talk, very first TED Talk in Houston. And she decided she wasn't going to do her regular TED Talk. She wasn't going to do the one that's all the numbers and all the studies she's done and everything. She was flying back from Hawaii. She'd just been to a conference. She was talking about people being vulnerable. She said, if you can't be vulnerable in your workplace, your business will not be successful. You need to be vulnerable. That's where courage comes from. That's where innovation comes from. That's where creativity comes from. You need to be vulnerable. And so she turns to her husband on the plane and she goes, I'm not going to give my normal talk tomorrow. He says, really? Why? She goes, because I've just told everybody they need to be vulnerable, and I've decided that's what I need to be. So she did her TED Talk, very vulnerable, walked off stage and kind of thought to herself, what have I done? And then she thought, okay, 500 people in the audience, I know 100 of them. Okay. And then she got home and she said to Steve, well, I did it. And he goes, yeah, it's on YouTube. And she's like, what? What? How do we stop it? He goes, I don't think you can, Renee. It's on YouTube. So she pulls up YouTube and she's like, 4 watchers, 5 watchers, 4 million watchers, 5 million watchers. And it went viral. And so she sits down, and of course the comments she's reading are probably some of the most unkind comments that people could say about her weight, about how she looked, had nothing to do with what she talked about. And she said she did what anybody would do. She turned down the lights in her house, shut her computer, sat down with Downton Abbey and a big jar of peanut butter and a spoon. She said the size of the spoon, of course, is dependent, it's all relative. I'm imagining she got like a big soup spoon. Downton Abbey was over and she was still so upset that then she said, and I've never heard of this, but it seemed like a good idea. She started to check, well, where is Downton Abbey? Who was the president at the time that Downton Abbey happened? Which was how she found Teddy Roosevelt. And his Daring Greatly poem is about, do not listen to the critic. Do not listen to the critic. They're not in the arena. They're not getting bloodied. They're sitting up in the stands judging, because that's what they do. The only people you get to listen to are, she said, and you will fail. Everybody fails when they're in the arena. But they get up and they do it again, because failure is part of success. She said, I don't want people in my life unless when I'm laying bloody in the middle of that arena, I can look over and go, hey, how's it going? Social media has given us a platform to be mean. It's a great platform when it's used properly, and some people think that being mean, I guess, is using it properly, and it's their choice. But I warn you, when you post things, when you're vulnerable, you can expect people to be mean. And just understand, those people aren't in the arena, because people in the arena know it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. And so enlighten yourself. Watch documentaries like that. Read books. Read history books. Make sure they're good history books, like real history books, not history books that have been rewritten for us, I guess. But read up on things. And when you read something and you think, that's interesting, find out if there's other sources that are saying the same thing. We tend to silo our information. And it's why I believe we are so separate right now as a country. We need to get back to realizing that we're all one. Every single one of us lives and breathes and has our existence in that divine energy that I choose to call God. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter who they choose to love. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter how they vote politically, what country they live in. We're all there. And when we get back to understanding that and being kind, we can create a world that really does work for everyone. And so the last step is about creating abundance in your life. Right? Creating abundance in your life. Why? Well, if you read Think and Grow Rich or any of the books in the early 1900s, they talk about you want to do things in your life, right? You want to travel. You want to educate other people. You want to educate yourself. Right now, the exchange to do that is what? Money. You don't have to have a gross amount of money necessarily, unless that floats your boat. But just to be financially free. To be able to take a class when you want to take the class. To be able to go on a vacation when you want to go on a vacation. To do the things that make your heart sing. It's an abundant universe. And so when we aren't living abundantly, we are living out of the nature of the divine. And so just take all of this in, if you will. Calm down, Gail. I don't know about the rest of you, but calm down, Gail. Take a breath. Not everybody on the freeways ought to get your Jeep. Just saying. Enlighten yourself. Create abundance in your life. Okay. I am going to have to go look. Let the past go, the big one. Which would mean that that's something I need to work on. That's why I forgot, so I could remind myself, let go of the past. So let's pray. Mother, Father, God, Spirit, right here and right now. Feeling that energy, that oneness, that knowing that I am connected not only to everybody in this room, not only to everybody online, not only to the members of Genesis family, I am connected to all things everywhere. Because I am a living, breathing organism, and that thing itself that I choose to know and call God, that one life that is God, that is me and that is all of you, it is all things everywhere. There truly is not a spot that God is not, as Ernest Holmes so eloquently would say. And so to realize that, to own that, to be that. And so that is the truth of who I am. Then how will my life look when I come from that place? That place of connection, heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind. When I look out through the eyes of God and see the world as God would see it, and know that God is looking back at me 6 billion times. Being an adventurer allows us to say, I could shift, I can change, I can choose to know and to be different. And to remember, it's always choice. It's always up to me or to you, to the individual. Do no harm, be kind. Remember, every single day, you have an opportunity, as do I, to say yes to a loving, kind, wonderful earth that we are part of, that we have chosen to be here at this time. Think about that. We chose to be here at this time, to share in this experience, to grow, to learn, and to be one. And so I am so grateful that I am on this part of my journey with all of you. Because like that little piglet, I forget, but the little fan out the window, whee! That's what I know. Let's be that. Let's have fun. Let's remember. Us not having fun, that's a human constraint. Let's be loving, let's be kind, let's have fun. Let's pretend that we're at the top of that roller coaster ride, throw up our arms and know as we go down, we're going right back up. And so I say thank you, God. Thank you for this day, this moment, this opportunity to know the truth of who I am, to know the truth of who everyone here is. God is Lord. So I release all of these words, knowing that as it is spoken, it is done. God has said yes, and it is in that yes that we let go, we let God, and together we say, and so it is. Namaste.